Welcome to the Dogon podcast. I'm excited to be here. We just got done doing a good recording. I think we're going to have another great one here.
Right.
I was up late last night, though, man. We were on TikTok Live just going through everything.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there, but I was listening in, and it was pretty nuts. There was a lot of people, and a lot of people came and followed. I appreciate all of you, but...
Yeah, like almost 50-some followers just from that live, and, 22,000 viewers, and,
Right.
a whole shit ton of diamonds. It was really cool to have that type of response, but it was also extremely concerning, the amount of violent rhetoric and open, we talked about this in the last episode, but like an open discussion about like how if you disagree with somebody politically, you should kill them.
Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous, and that's just going to lead to civil war.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize that's not going to be like some fun thing that happens.
Yeah, I know, it's going to be terrible because it's not going to be just us killing each other. It's going to be us killing each other, and then someone else is like, oh, man, they're killing each other. Let's go fuck them up now.
Yeah, and it's going to be other countries taking advantage, if they're not already taking advantage of the weakness that we have.
Right.
And what they see. I mean, there's, how many comments I saw from people from other countries who were like, America is in ruins.
Right, I mean...
This nation has fallen already. Like, those are the types of comments I was reading.
Right, I mean, it's not to where we're like living in shambles yet, but I mean... It can get to that point, and if we don't fucking get rid of the division and get rid of, left versus right, like shooting at each other and hating each other and shit, like, there's no point. There's no reason for that. Just talk to each other instead of getting so furiously angry over words.
Yeah, well, a lot of times the reason people get furiously angry is because of cognitive dissonance that they experience, and what that is you have a belief about how the world is, and then you're presented with information that is opposite or counter to that belief, and when you push away from that information and you try to deny that information, but subconsciously you see the truth in it, that creates animosity and anxiety internally, and most people think that they feel these emotions because this other person is a bad person. So then they take those emotions and they project those onto that other person and attack that person and get more and more violent and take the rhetoric even higher and higher to more aggressive stands. And they think it's because they're responding to their heart and that this person is so bad, but they don't realize that they're just responding to their own subconscious realization that their reality is not true. It's
Right.
not what actually is.
You just gotta quit being a little bitch and just kind of grow a backbone, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, and maybe this is just something I used to do, but I've always led with, people are like, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion. First things I talk to people about, like literally the first things I want to see somebody get uncomfortable and see somebody get mad when I have those discussions with them, because I want to know if they are a type of person who is going to take in new information and make new opinions, or if they're somebody who's just going to blindly put their head in the sand and be like, no, this is what I believe, I don't care. Because those people, to me, are some of the most dangerous people on the planet.
I know. If you can't have an open mind to certain things, you're never going to fucking get out of whatever you're thinking. I mean, it's just constant. Like, you're going to pull out your aggression on the other team, or, I don't know. It's just... Yeah. Aggression and violence is just not the answer.
Yeah, and the reason that it happens and the reason that it grows is because people don't understand what's happening in that moment, and they don't have enough self-reflection, and they think that if their beliefs are somehow disproven, that somehow it lessens who they are as a person. It lessens their intelligence or their ability to understand the world around them. So they fight adamantly to hold on to their beliefs, even when they're presented with information that, hey, that's wrong, And like, for example, if you're ever in a discussion with somebody and they say, there is no way that you could ever change my mind, stop that discussion.
Right, because there's no point.
I mean, yeah, it's literally pointless, because it's like, and I will say that to him. If somebody says it to me, I'll be like, well, at this point then, I don't think we should discuss anything, because if you're putting up this impenetrable wall saying like, even if I'm given information that proves I'm completely wrong and it's 100% factual, I'm not going to address it or take it in.
Right, that's scary. That's childish.
That's like if the room was on fire, that person's like, nah, I'm just going to sit here. Like, that's the kind, that's an extreme thought process, but it's like, that's literally what's happening. And it's happening more and more. You brought up last episode, these echo chambers that people are creating.
Yeah, people just get with people that only believe what they believe, and they will never, ever take in information from somebody who's on the opposite side or on the left or the right, we have to kill each other because you don't believe what I believe.
Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy how there's people on the left who adamantly think like Trump is a rapist and an evil person and a sexual assault, mastermind and all this stuff. And then there's people who literally think that with Biden, and it's like we've gotten so much destruction with our system of information that now people, like, for example, if I say, well, look at the House Oversight Committee on whitehouse.gov, people are like, oh, that's fake news. The Oversight Committee that's literally investigating the Hunter Biden laptop, or the one that's investigating the Biden crime family and all the money coming in and over like thousands of documents showing, bank account deposits into Biden family accounts for no reason, for no business. Like,
but I don't care about that, so it doesn't matter.
Fake news? Oh, yeah, those guys are terrible. Those guys, yeah. Well, they're still elected officials who are on an oversight investigation committee.
Right.
Like, how can, and so that's what's happening is like any information proposed by the opposite side, regardless of how vetted it is, of how accurate it is, it's just like, nope, fake news. And everyone will just be on their own team. Like, yeah, that's not real. That's not real.
Yeah, and then just pretend, but.
And it goes back to psychological programming. How many people still think Trump was working with Russia?
I have no idea.
A lot. People, because they push that Trump-Russia narrative so strongly with that dossier that Hillary Clinton created. And most people don't realize that Hillary Clinton got fined, I think it was $200,000 for using campaign money to make a fake dossier in order to make it look like Trump was working with Russians. And she was actually communicating with Russian informants. So what they were saying, what Trump was doing, but people still to this day think Trump works with Russian.
I think he was just trying to stop wars and create peace.
Yeah, like, when he's like, yeah, I'll sit down with, the leader of North Korea, people are like, he's evil. And it's like, what are you talking
you have to have a discussion with people, otherwise it's going to end in gunfire.
Yeah, and in violence. Exactly. It's like Trump's good at being in a room with somebody who disagrees with him and still coming out with a positive reaction.
Right, because, that's kind of what it's about. You can't, if you can't talk to someone, you can't get through to them, and I don't know, it's just going to end in violence.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well, see, that's the thing that most people don't realize. The U.S. government has had a monopoly on force for so many decades. That's how we have become who we are. That's how we have dictated what happens in the world, is we are willing to wipe out entire groups of people.
Right.
We're willing to bomb entire countries without even going to war, with like a presidential action, just because we feel like it.
Right.
And with that monopoly on force, that is something that creates a very dangerous situation of power and grasping of power. I really think that when Trump talks about how there's, groups within our government who are controlling things behind the scenes, I really think that's true.
It probably is.
Because the amount of money, we see these super PACs putting money into these politicians and controlling what they do. That's like, when are we going to take money out of politics? When are we going to put the power back in the people's hands? And when are we going to stop this, insanity of this side versus that side? Like, if we, don't come together as one country, we will be pulled apart.
Dissolve. It's going to... it's just going to end in death.
Yeah, people don't, we are one domino away, and this could have been the domino already. This could be it, and we don't even know. When the main domino falls, when people no longer have trust or faith in our country completely, to the point of where people aren't going to work, like where it's like unsafe, like you're 72 hours away from thousands and thousands and thousands of American dying.
Right.
Because if we go into civil war, if our supply chain shut down, if our farming shuts, if imports and exports get shut down, because like the first thing that would happen in a civil war is seizing control or protection of vital points within our country to try to keep things moving.
Right.
And people don't realize the number one goal of the government is not taking care of the people. It's not following the laws. It's not, giving back to the poor. It is continuity of government. And what that is continuation of the ability to govern the people.
Right.
They put that above everything, so that regardless if the whole country collapses and we get attacked, and they still have a plan to have a line of people who are in charge and dictate what happens from a government perspective. Even if everyone else is dying, their main focus is how do we keep our government going in order for us to continue this process in the future and correct it or come back from it.
Right.
And so like if things get bad, it's not going to be like, oh, let's help the American people get through this. It's going to be continuity of government.
All right, they're weak now. Let's fucking kill them.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just crazy. It makes me think back to the 1800s. It's this really weird conspiracy theory. Google around like whatever major city you're in, okay, or city that you're near. Just Google Great Fire and then put your city. Around the 1800s up to about 1820, every single city in the United States burned. Every single one. And there's pictures of them before with these giant buildings. Some of the buildings made it through, like in Washington, D.C. Some of these massive buildings, made it through. And it's just like, how were these buildings built so well back in the 1700s and 1800s? And then we had some cleansing fire that burned all of Detroit, burned all of New York. All these fires burned everything, and then all of a sudden these cities were rebuilt, and they were just different. The buildings were different. The construction was different. I just think there was some type of reset that happened back then, and I think we're marching towards another reset right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
And hey, you guys can think I'm crazy, but I predicted COVID 100%. I was calling it out years and years before. The year before, I was like, all right, here we go, guys. This is going to be it.
People were calling him crazy and such. I mean, I didn't really know him at that point, but
over 200 phone calls from past friends who were like, dude, I'm sorry. I blocked you on Facebook because I thought you were nuts.
Right.
And now I'm sitting here. And it was like a month into the COVID lockdowns. I literally, my phone blew up because people were like, oh, shit. I can't believe I'm locked in my house. And they're talking about mandating vaccines. And I'd be like, and even then I was like, oh yeah, it's coming. It's going to be mandated. People are going to lose their jobs. And people were like, no, now you're going too far. Now you're crazy. And it's like, well, that happened too.
Right.
And it's because I study pivotal points in history and I study tipping points in history because history always repeats itself. And when you look at Civil War times, when you look at the fall of the Roman Empire, man, I'm scared. The indicators that we have right now.
Things are going to happen in a certain way.
Yeah, that is for sure. For a second I was like, did I start this episode? But
I would sure hope so.
Yeah, I did. But I don't know. You guys, you're probably like, well, what's going on with Dogon? Well, we're still doing good. We're still in the waiting pattern. We did just get our tracking number for our packs. So they are moving. And they are on their way here.
Is there a date that they gave us? No.
Cool. But it was supposed to be by the 15th was the earliest.
Right.
I mean, we just were hoping we'd get it like the first weeks, but the 15th was the earliest and the latest is like the 28th or something. With the timing frame that they originally gave me. But either way, we're going to have it before 8/8. And I put, I told a few people about that launch date, and they were like, 8/8, that's so cool. And then I was like, it's actually 8/8/8 because if you add up 2 + 2 + 4, 2024. And it's like that day was important to us because, triple eights, whether you believe in numerology or not, I find it interesting. And, because it's actually a lot more advanced than people realize. It's talking about the progression of the different zodiac constellations as they move above and below the Milky Way galaxy. And so people don't realize, like, when you go into these different ages or these different times, it's because that star constellation is the way it's shifting out in space is going above or below the Milky Way galaxy. And ancient cultures were mapping those. And they thought it was interesting that these constellations would go in and out and they would see differences in tides and differences. And so I don't necessarily believe in all of that, but there is something to it that's intelligent. And so that 888 number is just like prosperity and growth. And, so just hopefully you guys can be there to support us on August 8th and order your Dogon Go Pack. I know I had to take a couple of these last night. The best part about this, I was feeling tired around like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I know I usually go to bed early because I get up at 4. And I took 2 of these and I was like feeling great. And then when I had to go to bed, I was able to pass out.
Right.
It didn't keep me awake.
It's not going to keep you up.
It was so cool. And I really appreciated that part of it, but
yeah, I took mine this morning as well, and it's making me feel quite nice. But
so, do you think I was yapping too much last night, or do you think? I mean, I can't believe we didn't get any violations.
No, I think it was perfect. I mean, the response was well. I mean, we got the 44 followers. I mean, there's always a bunch of crazy people that are going to have crazy opinions. But
yeah, I just think I wanted to make a space where we could just talk about like being more understanding of each other, and can we back this off the cliff edge or not, and honestly, after yesterday, after seeing the response I did, after getting the communication I did, I don't think we can.
It's probably not possible, just down to human nature.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say it now, and I'm not a doom or gloom or fear-oriented person. I try to, if I hear something that's fear-directive, I try to have the opposite thought in my head, but I think America has gone past that line to the point where we're not going to sit at the same table anymore. and I really hate to say that, and I don't say that lightly. I say it because what I saw in the comments, and thousands of comments and thousands of other comments that weren't even in my live, because I went on to like 10 different lives yesterday, and I was just disgusted by the jokes, by the people like, I wonder if that person who died was the bullet that went through Trump's ear. I bet their family is going to be upset that, that Trump actually is the one who killed him. His blood was on that bullet. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like the level of insanity that people were going through, or like saying that Trump went down and cut his ear and it was staged and they killed that guy on the roof and he was already dead and they just shot him. That's how they knew right where he was. And like, there was all this craziness, and Trump should have been shot. I wish his wife was behind him. Like all this crazy stuff. I was like, there is a large group of ignorant individuals out there who think this kind of stuff, to say this stuff and to push that line, is what America needs.
No, there's a lot of them. I mean, I'd say it's one of the more popular things is, violence over everything else.
Yeah, and it's along with the most popular, with violence, it's I hate Orange Man. Like, it's that Trump derangement syndrome of like, Orange Man must die. And it's weird to me. And I'll tell you what, to any, strong liberals that maybe are watching this, the reason why I even looked at Trump in the beginning, the reason why I even was like, is this somebody I would like? I don't know if he's good for I don't know if he's good for president. When I noticed every single crook and criminal in our government didn't want him to win, they used to be friends with him, and then they were just like, there's no way this guy will win. You can't vote for Trump. Like when I saw Bush and Clinton on TV shaking hands, like, don't vote for Trump. I was like, okay, if everybody hates him, if all the slime in Washington hates him, maybe I should look at him. Maybe he's a good call.
I think he's trying to uncover certain things from within.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I think there's some nobility with Trump. But I honestly think that Trump's family has been trying to break into this inner circle, this echelon of the wealthy of the world, the George Soros crew, and the people who have more money than you even know about, trillions of dollars off the books, family wealth, old money. When Trump and his family were trying to get into that group, and they didn't let him in. And there was like a benefit dinner that Obama was speaking at, and he was making fun of Trump. And everybody was making fun of Trump there. And it's because, Trump was just an easy target for him. They thought, and he had said a couple times, oh, I might run for president, and so they were just attacking him. And I saw Trump sit up, adjust his shoulders back, and put his hands together. And I was like, holy shit, Trump's going to run for president. And that was before he ever made a definitive statement that he was going to, that he was doing that. I saw this guy who was like, you know what? I've tried to rub elbows with these slime balls, with these, pedophile psychos, just to be in this inner group, just to be in this upper. No, I'll just destroy them all. And he's done it in a way that is with patriotic rhetoric and not violent rhetoric. He's done it with like America first. Like you haven't heard, if you look at what Democrats have said about Trump over the last few weeks and months, it has been very polarizing and aggressively stepping up to like do whatever it takes. He has to be taken out. He needs to be put in the crosshairs. Some of the statements that have been made are just wild. Like, and when are we going to recognize that as not good for the country and just not good for Donald Trump?
Right. I don't know. It's just a lot of insanity.
Yeah. And I don't really know how to defend against that. I'm just going to keep pushing with what I'm doing. I'm going to keep, focused on my values and my principles and try to grow doggone packs. And I don't know how all of this is going to turn out. This could be something, like I said, that pushes us into civil war, and America as we know it is dead forever. And that can happen a lot quicker and easier than we think. And like I said last night, we need to create safe places for opposition. And like Mother Teresa said, if we all just swept our own doorstep, the whole world would be clean. And so, like, can we just focus on how we treat others that we disagree with in our own life? If we all just focused on that and gave respect and love and understanding to people that think wildly opposite of us, if we all just did that, the whole world would come together.
It's true, but I don't think it'll happen.
I know. I try to be positive, and it's just like,
no, there's just
people don't want it.
There's a lot of people that genuinely don't want that and are just brainwashed. I don't know.
Well, because they've glamorized this, and I was one in the past too. Like, well, yeah, we need a civil war. If everything shuts down, it'll be the best thing ever because, no more taxes, no more, you're not mandated to do anything. It's just taking care of yourself and food. Like, oh, that would be amazing. But we're talking about like a decline and loss of so much and so many lives that it is not something that's glamorized as like, yeah, civil war, let's assassinate this guy. It's like, no, we're talking about thousands and millions of families and children that would be innocent victims in this, that would just die from starvation and violence. And it's just, we need to start taking it seriously because as these dominoes fall, if we can't pull that one domino out and stop this progression,
it will probably not be good.
Yeah, our podcast will probably be on like a FM transmitter. We'll be sitting in a half blown out building just talking to free America out there. It'll be like, I don't even know I don't know. It's just, I don't know how this is going to go, but I don't see it going the 9/11 positive way where everyone came together. When 9/11 happened, everyone was like, America, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, America. So, and it was like this beautiful time. We had this English woman in the live last night. She was talking about that. Like after 9/11, she was like, oh my gosh, it was so electric. America was like America. I don't think this is going to be one of those events that people are going to come together. I think this is going to create even more divide and it's going to get violent.
That's what people are, I don't know, it's just ignorance leads to violence.
Yep. And that's what they want because they think it's cool or it's wild or it's exciting because it's sensationalized to watch and to see.
Right.
Because it hasn't knocked down their own door yet. I
know. Think about seeing multiple people die like right in front of you. Like,
yeah.
You don't want that to happen.
Yeah. And it's like at what point will the violence and the death get enough to where it will knock on everyone's door? And when that starts to happen, that's what I mean. Like if this accelerates any further, like, I think we're in like a 10 or 15 day window right now of how things are going to go. And in this next 15 days, depending on what happens in our society and what people decide to do and what road people decide to take, I think will determine the fate of the United States.
We shall see.
We shall see. Maybe you guys can check it out in the next episode. Maybe internet and power will already be down by then. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we're fucking on some radio or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
The forest fucking building a cabin or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, the Dogon podcast ain't gonna die no matter what. So even if America goes down, we'll still be here for you.
We're gonna still be here in some kind of basement or some kind of weird building.
We'll catch you guys in the next one.
We'll see you later.
Among